Hi everyone, Timothy Kakari here from canibuild. We've just kicked off the FAQ session today, which is quite exciting because we're running through 3D take 2. Take 1 was sort of hijacked by the alarm that poor Nug had to soldier through, but he chose to sort of side on caution and sort of evacuate the building. So I apologize for anyone that did attend that first session. But we've got quite a few participants joining today, obviously showing the interest in terms of our 3D offering as well as draw your own lot, which I'll touch on today. So I'll just give it a few moments as people sort of join in. But a warm hello to everyone that's already joined in right now. And I'm definitely looking forward to showcasing canibuild's 3D option, as well as draw your own lot. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we don't hear an alarm. And if we do, I'll sort of silently cry on live stream. So let's just give it a few more moments. I'm hoping that everyone's doing well out there and still smiling. I know construction's always tough, but hopefully canibuild's doing at least its small little part to make things a little bit smoother. So just to sort of recap, we'll be touching on draw your own lot at the start. I'll be showcasing 2 examples, running through that. Again, feel free to interrupt me as I go along with any questions that anyone might have. And I'll definitely sort of try to answer those as I go along. Even if there's questions outside the scope of this webinar, I try to make it as interactive as possible. So just shoot away with any questions you might have and I'll do my best to answer those. Anyone that misses this session, we'll be recording it, loading it up on YouTube for you to be able to sort of see afterwards as well, and sort of replay anything that you may have missed in the session. But I'm hoping to sort of cover as much as I can in the time that we have. But again, thanks for everyone who's joined. It's definitely humbling to see how many companies do join each month. So we try to do these month in, month out, and I apologize for missing last month's. And I handed over those reins to Nug, who copped the fire alarm. But that's because I've been spending a bit of time in the US, meeting clients of ours as well as new clients, and seeing how things are done in the United States in terms of construction as compared to Australia, and basically learnt a few things along the way. It's quite humbling speaking to clients doing circa 50,000 homes a year, given Australia in total does 55,000 or thereabouts. So there was a lot of learnings there, and we're sort of pushing on. So it's exciting times with canibuild. With about 60 new members have joined in the last couple of months. So the team's growing quite rapidly. And as always, we're really hoping that we're addressing any support queries. And if there are any issues, let me know. And we try to be as transparent as possible. So we've got over 40 plus people sort of joined in. There's still people joining in, but I'm conscious of everyone's time. So what I'll do is as always, I'll share my screen and sort of run through what we're presenting today. So those of you just joined, what we'll be starting off with is draw your own lot. I'll be showcasing how that works, and then very quickly jumping onto 3D and showcasing how that works for all build types: houses, duplexes, pools, the lot, so you can see how it works for your particular business. It's not just about home builders. We've got almost half our clients are in the swimming pool space. So we'll definitely be showcasing that and how you can adopt 3D to showcase to your clients how that works. So without further ado, let me share my screen and kick things off and go from there. And let's all cross fingers that there's not an alarm, because I kid you not, there's an alarm about once a week in this building. There's a cafe downstairs which I think burns their toast every second day. So, and now that I've mentioned it about a few times, watch myself jinx it and the alarm go off as soon as I click start. Alrighty, so hopefully that's coming through okay. So basically what we'll be doing is kicking off in terms of draw your own lot. So basically the way, especially if there's some US clients that's hopped on to this session, basically draw your own lot is meant to be, say for example, for a home builder, there's an estate that hasn't been loaded into canibuild yet. There's some circa just over 2,700 now estates, but say there is a subdivision that just got done yesterday, a 3-lot subdivision or a 300-lot subdivision, and you're meeting a client, I understand that you need to be able to site right then and there. So that's why, in conjunction with some of our key clients, we've developed this feature to be able to draw that lot. You're also able to use it in the situation where it's a proposed or hypothetical subdivision that someone might be thinking about, and you're able to sort of draw that based on a sketch of a lot that hasn't even been submitted. So it gives you that versatility. So what I'll do is I'll jump to an address, and let's just see how that looks. So let's assume we've come to an address like this, and this is a subdivision that is yet to be loaded in, or this owner is thinking of doing a project on this block, or whatever might be the scenario. So on the right hand side, you'll notice that there's a little wrench there. Now, if you hover over the wrench, you'll see 4 options. You'll see edit lot, subdivide lot, merge, site, and draw lots. So and one thing I forgot to mention, I will touch on merge lots as well. But the 2 grayed out options, which is the edit and subdivide, those will be coming soon. Edit basically means edit the existing lot, which is self-explanatory. Subdivide lot will be able to just do, in theory, you'll be able to subdivide a 300-lot subdivision, but you'll have to be close to insane to do it lot by lot. It is much more geared to the battle axe subdivision or the 3-lot subdivision, where you're just quickly saying, let's show the subdivision, and they'll literally divide that lot into 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. You can do 500, but that'll be inspirational, and if you do pull one of those off, let me know. And then draw lot, you'll be able to input the values or click on the map. So by clicking on the map option, you'll be able to trace. Say with the aerials, you're able to see the subdivision forming, and you want to sort of trace that to do a quick lot, or you can input the values by referring to a DP. So inputting the bearings, the distances, etc., and forming that lot line by line. So let's right now click on the map and showcase how that looks. So by clicking on the map, on the left-hand side, you'll see a label. You can make that label whatever you like it to be. So you can name it lot 50 or lot 2 or lot 3, or leave it as the default address of the master lot. And you do have to start at an address. The reason we have to start at an address is the system will still pull rules and regulations and context information, so you don't have to input those. And you'll see the benefit of that shortly. So if I do click on this, let's just use this fence line as a potential lot that is occurring. So here we've traced that lot. If I go to architectural view, you'll be able to see that it'll be clearer. And basically, you've got the square meter, the perimeter, and the segment lengths. On the left-hand side, it will form up the bearings, the distances, which you can also adjust. So even if you're referring to a DP document that has these measurements, it might be easier to just draw the rectangle this way. You can press enter and enter in the measurement, etc., just like you would use the measuring tool typically. But on the left-hand side, and then you can edit it afterwards if you prefer that mode. So let's just say we've got this. Basically, you can basically edit this and sort of tweak that measurement or adjust or etc. But what the system is now waiting for is for you to be able to provide some context in terms of what the frontage is, what the side is, and what the rear is. You can do that by clicking on the left-hand side, need BA, which is basically boundary A, boundary B, boundary C. You can choose that in that way, or if it makes more logical sense, you can click on, say, BB here and say that's the frontage. And you'll see that it's labeled at front. And then you can click this as side. You can click the other as side. And then you're able to click BD as rear. So basically here you can see that all that's been populated. You can click on save. And basically you can now see that there's a lot here. So that'll behave as per a normal lot. So that's now looking a little bit more typical to what you're seeing on canibuild. It's now acting as a lot. On the left-hand side, you've got your frontage information, you've got your council, etc., etc. And then now you can pick a design as per normal. So let's pick a design. And then that will place that design on the lot as you'll typically expect. So I'll just give that a few moments. And notice that the setbacks are all there. So I've said this many times before, I'm biased, but I do love what we do here in the application canibuild. And I hope you can see now if a client walked in and they've either this is a proposed lot on a hypothetical scenario where this particular landowner is thinking about partitioning this into subdivision, or it's already a subdivision that canibuild has yet to upload because it just got subdivided yesterday, or it's a minor subdivision somewhere. You're now able to still work with that client and say, hey, let's see what we can do on your block of land. So you can see here it's got all the contextual information, front, side, and rear setbacks, and it's now working as per normal. If you breach, it'll tell you you're breaching. If you generate a site plan, it'll generate the site plan for this context. Even if you click on the contours, it'll show the contours. So if you had positioned this based on longitude and latitude or roughly correct, you're able to still do everything that you've come to expect with canibuild and be able to start getting that information and showcase it on that block. So I'm genuinely hoping that this is hitting the mark in terms of what people have been expecting for this feature, because I do know many of you have been very keenly waiting for this to be introduced. And basically, this is how that works. And it's meant to be simple. So you can imagine someone walking to a display or to the office, and you're able to simply say, well, what's your address? Where's the, where is it? Let's go to it. Let's draw it up if it's not there and start sort of showcasing how that looks, which I think is pretty razzmatazz. Now, on top of that, what we're able to then do is showcase that in 3D if you wanted to. But before I get sort of overly excited and sort of showcase that, let's just go back to this view. And what I'll do is I'll quickly showcase another method of doing it, which is entering the bearings and distances. So let's just jump to another address. Picked a nice one earlier. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, this will do, because it looks like this is the formation of a subdivision. So basically, again, here I've picked a lot, and let's just repeat that same process. Let's go to the wrench, but instead of now clicking on the map, let's instead input the values. So if you click input the values on the left-hand side, again, it looks very familiar. It's going to say get a starting position. So let's just get a starting position there. And then it's basically waiting for you to add those details. So let's just say that is 45 meters at 45 degrees. Let's just make that 60 meters. So basically what you'll be doing here is entering those values from a DP. If the aerial is distracting, you can take that away, and then you can simply start adding the next measurement. And then you can say that this is 130 degrees, 130 degrees. And then this distance is 20 or whatever it might be. Now, if any of you have done this on architectural packages before, you'll know that potentially the bearing can go both ways. So is it 90 degrees that way or 90 degrees the other way? If you need to flip it, there's a flip tool here. So you can flip in which direction that bearing's going. So you can very easily get it exactly as you want. And then basically you'll just be adding points and then say, okay, this is another 47 meters. And then again here, this gives you an example. You can switch the bearing so you can have the lot as it's meant to be. And then you're able to sort of save that. And then again, in a similar way as when we drew the lot by tracing, you're able to now designate this is frontage, this is side, and this is rear. and basically save on that. And then basically that will have created that lot. So if I go to aerial view so I can see where I landed in the world, you can see here that lot there. And now you just repeat that same process, right? You're able to go to designs and pick a design and place it. And you've got your setbacks. Again, you can pick contours, you can generate site plans, you can generate flyers. It operates exactly the same way. So I hope you can see from me doing it live that, you know, it's quite a simple process and it can be done quite rapidly. And basically it operates exactly as the normal system, as if you had picked that lot, which I think is quite cool. Now, here what I'm doing is even on a lot that you've just drawn, we're able to then showcase it in 3D. So on the right-hand side, if you opt to add 3D to your subscription, you're able to click 3D. If you click 3D, you're then able to show that block that we've just drew up. So you're not even relying on an existing lot, and then you're able to show that 3D design. Now, what's amazing is in 3D, it works exactly as per the 2D model. And then if you move this around, it'll regenerate into its position. But the key thing here is you're actually able to see the cut and fill in real time. So you're able to raise the build, drop the build, and starting getting really sort of advanced features that will be able to showcase not only how that build looks on that parcel of land, but what it costs. Because it will be automatically calculating the import of fill, the export of fill, the square meterage of the drop edge, or square footage if we've got clients from the US. If anyone is from the US, please shout out and say hello, and I'll sort of quickly jump to Beverly Hills and showcase how 3D works there as well. But basically in this mode, you're able to very quickly showcase how that build looks, how it presents from the street, and how it sort of affects in terms of cut and fill. You're able to rotate, you're able to sort of function this exactly as you would in 2D. But it's not just a gimmicky 3D model. You're able to then sort of drill down and show the cut. You're able to show if there is cut and fill, et cetera, and it'll recalculate based on your recipe of costs in real time. So what I mean by recipe of costs, at the bottom there, you can see the calculations are occurring. And basically this is feeding into, we're doing the calcs, but the price is your price. So you're able to put your import of fuel. So if that's X dollars or X square meter, you're able to put that in and it'll recalculate as we sort of move this around and sort of recalculate the cut and fill. So I quickly jumped onto this one so I can showcase that the 3D works in both existing lots or new lots. Now what I'll do is I'll just jump around and showcase the full functionality of 3D on some lots that are existing and that I'm familiar with, so I can showcase how it works in its entirety. So let's do that. So you might be completely shocked to find out that I'm going to go to Hood Street. Probably the most popular address in Australia right now. So I'm going to my ever familiar 78 Hood Street. So here we've got a design, a floor plan already there. And again, on the right-hand side, all I'll be doing is clicking this little cube at the bottom, just below the wrench, which was the draw your own lot. And someone please remind me to showcase merge as well before I forget. So here I've clicked on the cube. And again, it quickly jumps into a 3D mode. And basically what this is doing is calculating that cut and fill as we've done previously. So here, the nice thing is if I go onto a side elevation, you're able to see that cut. If I zoom in, you can see the cut. So you're able to show the client, well, that's what that 1 meter cut looks like. This is what your drop edge looks like. And then you can start doing a few more interesting things. So if you click on the build, with your mouse, you'll be able to sort of start selecting some options. So one of the options is you can show the cut and fill visually. So in red for cut and blue and fill. So that for construction guys, obviously you'll be able to start seeing exactly what's involved on this particular project. And for the client as well, you can visually show why that site costs what it costs. You're able to then click on the floor plan and see that floor plan over that cut and fill, so you can actually start visualizing the impact. You're then able to showcase that with a 3D model of this particular build. So if I click on the model icon, which is the one right next to the slider, and what I'll do is I'll remove the cut and fill so you can see that, and then click on model. The model, if you have a 3D render of the model, you can load that in as well. So you can start showing how that model looks. Now what you can do is showcase that model from the street frontage, how it's going to present. You can start rotating around the actual build and show that drop edge from the rear, how the alfresco is going to present, how it's going to be viewed from even from a window, etc. So it's really visual. But for me, the exciting part in particular is it's a true depiction of that project on that block of land. It's not just a gimmicky 3D render that's floating in space. And every builder and every sales consultant has seen those kind of things, but it's pointless unless you can grab this build and move it around and say, that's how it's going to look at the back. And this is how your drop edge is going to look. And this is the cut. Is this what you want? And then on top of that, you're able to say, well, here it's going to cost $43,000. If we move it further at the back, it's going to cost more or less, depending on how much drop edge or how much cut and fill. And then basically you're able to really start forming, a true depiction of both what's possible and what's not. So you can see here, as we approach the front, when it's sloping up, it's starting to go up in price. So basically you can use this to govern, hey, look, I suggest plan A over plan B. Let's see what the cost consequence if we increase the height of the build because it's not presenting well from the street because it's already sloping back. And what's the cost ramification of that? And then maybe a client sees that $95,000 and goes, you know what, let's stick with the other suggestion. Let's try to sort of lower it and see what we can do. Or if we lower it slightly, okay, well, I prefer 75,000 instead of the 65, because now it presents a little bit better from street level. So in very quick order, we're able to do this. Now, on top of that, you're able to click on the build and take off the roof. And mind you, this works with single story, double story, swimming pools, and I will jump around and showcase all of that in different blocks. So here, I've taken off the roof and you can basically zoom in and show the internals. So again, I'm heavily biased, but I do think this is a pretty amazing way to not only showcase your builds, your floor plans, but also be able to sort of showcase how that's going to actually look. Now, if you're wondering why it's red, that's because I've put it in the setback area. So if I move it back, it won't be red unless I'm breaching the front setback. So it basically works exactly the same way as the 2D. If you're in the setback area, it'll breach. So let me just put the roof back on it. You can do things like increase the transparency. So you can see through it and then sort of send the transparency all the way. So then you can see what's happening, in which case I can see I'm breaching the front setback. So now it's black because we're able to then fit it in. So here you can see how much you can actually do with the system and do it easily because I'm under the pressure of a live webinar, right? So you can imagine if a client walks in, you're able to just put in the address, click 3D, showcase, rotate it around. Now, in addition to being able to showcase visually how the build looks, look inside the floor plan, automatically calculate the import and export of fill, and the square meterage of the drop edge, calculated against your fee structure, you are able to also showcase the shadow diagrams. So on the bottom left-hand side, right next to the map button, we are able to click on this sundial and basically show what the shadow is of the build at any time of day. So here you can see that I'm just rotating around this dial, and basically showing what it looks in terms of the shadow. So now going at night. And then the nice thing is you're not only able to show the shadow any time of day, but any time of the year, any season. So if I just, let me just put it back in the middle of the day. So here I'm able to sort of scroll up. So if you wanted to see that as a shadow diagram, you can do that on the fly. Especially if a client's thinking about building a swimming pool at the back, what's the impact going to be? What's the alfresco going to be shadowed, etc., etc. Now, if you want, I've done the transparency as full. You can now do it without the transparency and showcase the shadow exactly how it's going to look. So you can see what that's like. And then you can say, okay, well, how does that look like in summer? And you can click the same time in summer, and that's how it's going to look in summer. So I think, again, that's pretty amazing. And then in this case, you can see that in summer, as in that time of day, the alfresco is still lit, it's still light at the back, if that's what that client wants, etc., etc. So in very quick order, without having to wait for shadow diagrams down the line, you can start making design decisions from a sales perspective, not design decisions that sort of, makes you want to sort of pull your hair out when you're already talking about shadow diagrams on day one. But you can basically showcase why that particular design in your plan library works best on that block of land, how it works in terms of maximizing solar orientation, how it fits on the block, how it's basically, you can make sure that from the elevation you've got it at the right height. It's pretty powerful. So what I've basically just showed there, if you ask yourself, how long would that take to be able to get the calculations done, visually shown, elevations, even if you're presenting a DA application to a council, you can imagine if you recorded a quick session like this and sort of showcase how that build's going to look and how it's going to solar affect the neighboring properties, I'm pretty sure they're going to have a very clear understanding, and especially in a pre-lodgement meeting, be able to give some tangible advice rather than say, look, just submit it and we'll tell you. And you'll say, well, I don't have to submit it. I can show you right now. Can you give us some advice as to whether or not we're on the right track? Because heaven forbid, we'd love to be able to get this application approved in our lifetime. So there's quite a lot of versatility and avenues which you can start using this. So what I'll do now, just for some additional razzmatazz, I'll jump around to a few addresses and showcase how this looks with pools, with duplexes, with sheds, with quite a few other different build types. And again, if anyone's got questions, as always, feel free to sort of jump in and ask away. So right now I'm just jumping to address that's a little bit more scenic. Not to say 78 Hood Street's not scenic, but there's others that are more scenic. So here we've clicked on this design again. So rather than bore you and sort of showcase the exact same floor plan, let's just jump next door. And let's just showcase the duplex. So here we've got a duplex design. So those of you that are building a lot of duplexes, you're able to then showcase this. Again, canibuild works with it and multiple different build types. But if I do click on 3D, same thing again. It'll showcase the design in 3 dimensions. It'll be calculating the cut that's involved. It'll be applying your recipe of costs. And the nice thing is, even if you don't have a render, and if you need a render, we can provide those for a fee. But even if you don't have a render, it'll extrude your current floor plan. So what's happening here is if I click on floor plan, it'll show the floor plan of the design, which you can then run in a transparency mode and show how that looks. I can keep going and then you'll be able to see that in an easy way. And then what you're also able to do, if you do have the 3D model, let me just take that off and click the 3D, you'll be able to visually show that model in place. So even for architects, because we've got quite a few architect clients, you're able to then showcase a build that you're doing. You're able to export the model out of Revit and then easily load this yourselves and then showcase that project again replicating exactly what I did with the house in all aspects. So you're able to say, well, how does that look from the front, from the side, drop edge, etc., etc. And then let's just say on this particular project, this client wants to say, okay, well, I want to be closer to the water for whatever reason. And then you move that back. Notice at the bottom, it will just recalculate. And now you'll be able to see that drop edge, how they'll present from the back. So again, I'm just incredibly biased, but the amount of work that is saved in being able to show this from a sales perspective. So basically you're able to make the right decisions in terms of cost, provability, what the client wants, visual, in a really strong way. And again, you're able to then do all the other things that I showed. You'll be able to rip off the top to show the ground level. You'll be able to show the upper level. So you're able to show both floor plates and sort of zoom in and showcase how that's going to look, and then turn on the shadowing, etc., etc. So let me just put the roof back on it and try to answer some of the questions that I see coming through. And yeah, like, I don't know what to tell you guys. I love it, but let's just see this question. Can you show split level homes in 3D? Yes, Grant, you can show split, single. You can even, what you can even do is, even if you're using the design option feature of canibuild, where you can say, look, I want the grand al fresco, I want to extend the single garage to double garage, the 3D will actually 3D your design options. So as the floor plan changes, will reflect that, and I'll show you that right now as well. So in short answer, the question was, does it work with split levels? Works with split, single. One of our clients in the US is Boxable. If any of you guys are sort of following that, they're basically using the 3D feature to showcase their clients how their builds across the US and the world will fit. So basically any build type, any structure can be done in 3D. So let me just turn the shadowing off. And what I'll do now is, let me just go back to 2D. Let's click on the pool. So for the pool companies out there, it works exactly the same way. You can drop in a pool, click 3D, and basically it will showcase that pool design. Now, the nice thing about the pool 3D is you're able to sort of do exactly the same thing. You're able to grab that pool, drag it back, and say, okay, that's how that's going to look. I want that to be higher. It's going to be that. And again, it's going to be calculating that site cost. So the cut, and it'll take into account the cut of the actual pool itself, as well as the pad. And you're able to then see, okay, well, what's the retaining requirement going to be if we sort of shift that back? And then you'll be able to see how that pool looks. And you can do any number of crazy things. Like it's basically up to your discretion. So if someone wants to put a pool so they've got city views and do something insane, you can. It's basically you drive it. So you're not governed by the requirements of canibuild. You're able to start doing this exactly as needed for the build. Now, the added feature in terms of pool builders for the auto site cost, and I'll show this right at the end, you're able to insert linear meter cost for fencing, square meter for the surface area around. So rather than just simply showing the surrounding areas in exposed aggregate, which is right now, you can then show decking, tiling, and things like that, and it'll automatically recalculate that cost. You're able to even sort of drag out this surrounding area to sort of reflect the pad shape of your choosing. So in very quick order, you can pick a pool, place it, position it, choose different designs, extrude, etc. And again, just in the same way as the homes, if you have a 3D model of the pool, especially for fiberglass pool builders, if you've got all your shells in 3D, we're able to load those and show that in a much more visual aspect. But even if you don't, say for example, you've got a 2D drawing like this, we'll extrude, we'll do the coping, we'll expand, and then you'll be able to sort of function this in exactly the same way. Now we've got another question. No, that's fine. So basically, here's a, and the same goes with shadowing. You're able to click shadows and see how that's going to look. And in a few weeks, you'll be able to showcase the home as well as the pool, as well as a granny flat, all at the same time, and see what the shadowing is going to impact. And over that course of time, we'll also be extruding all the surrounding buildings and seeing how those shadow inwards into how it affects your build as well. So again, I think this is pretty revolutionary. There's no company around the world that's doing this in this fluid motion from a sales perspective. So essentially from our perspective, we see this as real-time 3D, just not a gimmicky 3D, because like my background as a builder, there's nothing more that I hated than spending $2,000 on some rendered 3D model, which looks fantastic, is hyper realistic and the rest of it, but I can't use it to sell, because the first question the client's going to ask is that how my build's going to look? And then you're going to say, not really, your one's going to be different because we've got, you know, some site conditions, etc., etc. So basically, as salespeople, I'm sure most of you will agree, the last thing you want to do is show that 3D render, because you're going to have to go into a speech as to how it's not going to look exactly like that on your block of land. Whereas now you can. So you've got the benefit of visually showing it, showing the shadow, showing the cut and fill, showing what the site cost is going to be, come to the right decision in 5 minutes rather than 5 weeks, and the back and forth that inevitably happens, because the client understands it. They don't have to try to understand an architectural drawing and the elevations and what that means, and what does the dotted line mean? Does that mean the existing ground? I don't get it. Can you explain to me? Can you see me on site and show me? You're able to visually show it. So jumping back to 2D, if I come across and I pick, say, this property here. So here you can see that I've picked a design whereby we've elected the grand al fresco and the, you know, these design options highlighted in green. And for those of you that are not aware, you can click on design options. You can modify the floor plan on the fly. But in very much the same way as we did with the other options, if I click on the 3D, you can notice that it's actually showcasing the extruded and adjusted form. So that little section there is the, not the grand al fresco, the study option at the front, and then at the back, it's the grand al fresco. So what that means is, not only can you modify the floor plan on the fly and say, is this what you want? Did you want that to be extended at the rear? Did you want that study area? But it also feeds into the calculation. So you can see here that for this build, the calculation is significant because we've got quite a significant cut. We've got drop edge area of 30 square meters. We've got cut volume of 56 and fill volume of 59 cubic meters. That's from memory, it was $170 a square meter for drop edges, which is shows you how long it's been since I've priced up a drop edge. I think it's like 250 now or 300, or it's changing day by day. And you've got your import and export of fill. But again, you're able to say, well, if the client has a heart attack at that price, you can grab the design and sort of relocate it or see if there's another design option. So in this case, if I was a sales consultant here and this client has a heart attack, which they'll have a bigger heart attack now, and they'll say, well, I prefer to cut than the drop edge because it's now at 175,000. I would recommend to this client, if they were price conscious, to go for a wider build rather than a deeper build. But given this is a waterfront property, I don't think they'll be as conscious as others, but you're able to then show what that ramification is. So in this case, I'll say, well, let's try a wider design and we might be able to save $50,000 and you can get that extra jacuzzi, whatever you want to do, and then basically start showing how that's going to look. And then again, we can sort of sit at that front street frontage level and show how that looks. We've got another quick question. Can you show how to simulate an internal step down again? Anyway, the overall height. Okay, so I think there is 2 steps there. So I think the question, and correct me if I'm wrong, Grant, basically how do you drop it down? So if we drop the build down from the 3D perspective, I'll show that again now. So the model's there. All I'm doing is clicking on it and a few things happen. One, you've got these arrows in a circular orientation around the build. If you grab hold of those, you can start rotating the build, and they'll have the effect of cutting the build accordingly and readjusting. You've also got this arrow at the top, which you can sort of raise and lower. So that's all I'm really doing. So if you lower and you create a bunker, it'll reflect that. And then if you raise it up, you've got zero cut and all drop edges, and you've got that. Now, we are releasing an update whereby you'll be able to set the RL rather than visually see the RL and sort of adjust manually. In the 2D option, if I click on 2D in terms of the site, or you'll be able to click on the design. So it's this design, and if I on the right hand side, there's a cut and fill icon just above the wrench. If you click on that, it'll give you those drop edges on all four corners. If you click on point A, you can type in 5 meters. You want to raise the foundation by 5, and it'll show you the ramification of that. So if I go in this view, you'll be able to see that. If you click on 5 again and go -1, it'll adjust again accordingly. If you're talking about a step down in the middle of the block, so like create a split design, your earlier question, I thought you already have a set split designs that some builders do. But if you're trying to create a split design, and I know I've promised this in the past, we are still working on that, and you'll be able, shortly you'll see, instead of A, B, C, D, you'll see A, B, C, D, E, F. EF being the line in the middle, and you'll be able to move that line up and down, creating a split up to, randomly, and then the 3D will accommodate. But if you've already got a split design, we can load that in and already have that split already shown in the 3D visualization. So I'll quickly look at the questions again. Okay, so I think I've answered that. Okay, the overall height. Now the last thing that we'll be doing is showing if we're breaching the maximum heights. So you know if you have to come in from the side boundary. That's the very next thing that we're releasing in conjunction with the 3D. Because now that we've got 3D, we'll be able to very quickly see whether or not we can show, 1 second, I'll refresh, whether or not we can show the building envelope and whether or not we comply to the max height. So we'll be able to show a building envelope and move that around to make sure that we're not maxing out the heights or on the side boundary. The other thing I want to quickly do, so just to be clear on that, maximum heights, you can visually already calculate it because you know what the heights are and you know what the drop edge is going to be, and it's giving you all the heights. So if it's an 8.5 max height, you can see whether or not you're breaching, but we are working to visually show that. So in the same way that when you breach a side setback, it turns red, we'll be doing the same as if you breach the maximum reach height, but you can calculate that because you've got all the drop edges on all the corners. So if the drop edge is 2 meters and the build is 6 meters, you know that's 8 meters, and you know you're within the 8.5. But if the build's 7 meters and the drop edge is 4 meters, you know you're breaching. But we are going to do that visually and intuitively, so sales consultants can just straight away calculate it and see. Okay, so Mariah, the question is it based on CDC setbacks of zoning or standard council DCPs? It's either or. So if we go again to the world famous 78 Hood Street, and I'll show, okay, so to be clear, the question was what's being applied, state legislation or local legislation? In New South Wales, state being CDC and local being DCP. So similar to Queensland QDC or state or local or, SAPA in South Australia or whatever might be the scenario. So here, if I go to this block, if I click on rules, in the rules, you'll be able to switch between CDC, in this case, in New South Wales, or DCP. And if you do change that, notice you can see the setback changes. So that therefore the setbacks change, the height change, the maximums change, or the rules change, and you apply that. And then if you click on 3D, it'll be that. So basically you'll be making that choice at this planning rules tab. So hopefully there's another mention new website per country. New website per country, I think. So I've got another quick question. So basically, and it probably is one of my own staff giving me a hint. And we've basically launched our new website, canibuild.com. So please, if you've got time, visit canibuild.com and see all the information that we have there. So that's spanning multiple countries. So we've got Australia, New Zealand, and the US. So you'll be able to see all the information that relates to your area, as opposed to one generic website giving information for just Australia or just US. So if you have the time, Bree spent a tremendous amount of time and stress developing this new website. So please, if you do have time, quickly visit that. But while I've still got everyone, what I'll do is I'll quickly jump into our US account, and I'll just showcase how it works in the US. So if I've got any US clients right now on, I'll be able to see that as well. All right, so I've got a question here. Hi, sorry, but what documentation do we need to upload and show level detail, facade, roof, etc. with the 3D function? Good question. What I'll do is before we're through, I'll actually go through and showcase how easy it is to upload your own 3D model. You don't need to rely on us, but we do it as a courtesy like always, and how to showcase facades and elevations, etc. So I'll quickly touch on that and answer that question. So here, I've just jumped into the US. And basically what I'll do is I'll jump to Beverly Hills, because let's just be a bit dramatic. So here we're on this block. Here I've got a boxable design on it. So if anyone's interested in a boxable casita, visit Boxable. You can purchase one and get it delivered to your house, believe it or not. So again, we're able to click 3D. And show, and you can tell that you're no longer in flat country. And basically here you can click on the model, see the little casita, show it in 3D, remove the roof if you wanted to, move it around, auto calculate. Again, I've set the price at 0, but if you set that to any price, it'll be that price. And then just jumping out of here, I'll go to another quick address. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, it'll work exactly as per normal. So let's go a little bit more dramatic still. So needless to say, this vacant block of land won't come cheap. And then I've sort of questioned who the owner was, and on the left-hand side, I could see who the owner was. So I don't think they're short of money. So let's just click on this floor plan. And then again, if we click on 3D, we're able to then showcase in 3D, and these guys will definitely have terrible views. So here we've got this floor plan, and again, you're able to move it around, calculate the site cost. Probably this client wouldn't care about the site cost, but again, you're able to pick the floor plan view. The nice thing is on the floor plan view, you can actually see the floor plan per floor plate, which is quite fancy. And then again, if you've got the 3D model, you can show the 3D model. And it's just that simple. And just for dramatic effect, it doesn't really matter what you do. If the client has an infinite budget like this client would, you're able to then just show what the drop edge would look like and how that presents. And hopefully you can get that feel of how simple it is as I'm jumping around. I've got another quick question. Oh, thanks, Bree. A reminder for merge lots. So here we've got that, and then just for completeness sake, let me just jump and showcase a pool. And this works with garden sheds, everything like that. So let's see if I've got one here. So 3D ADUs, etc., pools to designs. Let's see if I've got it in here. I don't. I've got it in the Australian accounts, but I hope you can believe me that you can start showing your 3D sheds or farm buildings, etc., and place those in the same way. And just for the pool example, if I click on here, you can see in much the same way, we've got now the world's most expensive pool with probably the world's best view. And then you can sort of move that around in 3D as well. So if you're not short of concrete, that might be a good option. And then you're able to sort of click around, and I hope you can see I'm just jumping around, and it is fluid in a sales setting. So now Bree gently reminded me to showcase merge lot. I'll quickly showcase that and then finish up by explaining a bit more in terms of the 3D and how you can upload. But before going to the upload, we've got merge lot. Now, we've got many clients that are real estate agents, also companies doing feasibilities for amalgamation of lots, or even builders looking to see what an amalgamated lot looks like. So if I click on a parcel of land, so let's just say this guy here. On the right-hand side, you've got your wrench as per normal. So if I go into this view, it doesn't matter which view you're in, but if I go to the wrench and click merge lots, basically now it gives you the option to select other adjoining lots. So let's do that. Like that. And then on the left-hand side, you've got merge. So let's just merge. And now you've got a single lot. Now, the benefit for having a single lot now is, especially with real estate agents or anyone doing a feasibility, if you click on contours, it'll apply the contours on all the lots, not just one of the lots. When we release the subdivision feature, you'll be able to amalgamate and then subdivide. You can still treat this as a normal lot. So on the left-hand side, everything it's an amalgamated area, amalgamated square meterage, but you're able to now pick a design as per normal. So let's do that. And it will do the setbacks based on the amalgamated lots, etc., etc. And you're able to sort of generate site plans on the amalgamated and so on and so forth. So there's quite a few use cases here, but hopefully that gives you a perspective as to what we can sort of do. And even if you go on 3D, it's now 3D on the merge lot, and then you'll be able to see how that build looks. Pretty cool. So jumping back to the earlier question of how to upload your own design and facades and elevations and things like that. So if I go to the admin panel, quick shout out to GJ Garner. If you go to admin and go to design catalog and say we wanted to upload a 3D design, you'll run through in the normal process. You'll click add item. This is what we're doing on your behalf, and it's just as easy for yourselves to do. If you click add item, it will ask you to upload a floor plan. You'll be able to run through that process. It will guide you in that those steps. But if I go to edit, basically, if you did select the floor plan, it'll ask you to crop. It will run through the 2D version first. Here is where you can start applying different design options, different facade options, and then you'll be able to click on the 3D model and load up the 3D model as well. And then it's simple as upload 3D model. That's as simple as I can show. So to give you an example, I'm not the most organized person on the planet. So all the models that you saw in this 3D demonstration, I uploaded pretty much an hour before the presentation just to showcase that. So that gives you an idea that it's fairly easy to upload. So the first one, as always, will take you 10 minutes, the second 5, and the third will be 2 or 3 minutes. And then it's that simple. So if you're an architect and you're currently on this session, you're able to then showcase a design, export it 3D, load it up yourself, showcase it on the site, and then be able to show the clients in real time shadow diagrams, how it's going to look, and then basically get that sort of feedback loop from a client straight away. We've got another question. What kind of file is the 3D file? We can convert from any format. The preferred format is GLB, being the most recent format that's the most efficient, lightweight and detailed and component 3D model. And pretty much all the packages will export to GLB. But if there is another format that you already have it, so say for example, you've already done 3D models in the past, we can import those. So just reach out to us at support@canibuild.com, or just reach out to Mark or any of the team that you've got a contact with, and then we'll be happy to help. We've got another quick chat. Yeah, so basically at this point, Breeze kindly sort of posted on the chat that if anyone is interested in 3D or finding out more, please click on the link. You can just sort of make yourselves known through the link, or contact us at support@canibuild.com, and someone can sort of contact you today. As a courtesy, and we're super excited about this 3D option, if anyone does reach out today and opts to sort of choose to add 3D to their subscription, we'll discount that for you today. I don't want to sound like we're throwing in free kitchen knives or things like that, but given that you guys spend the time to join me every month, anyone that is on this session and subscribes today for that add-on, we'd love to have a chat with you and discount that for you as a courtesy and a thank you for both attending these sessions and being a client of canibuild. And I do believe that this 3D functionality will change the game. It just will. So you can imagine if someone next door to yourselves is showcasing their build in 3D, how difficult it will be for that client to then come and speak to yourselves or someone else and say, hey, and start accepting just a 2D representation of that design. So being at the forefront and being able to show that in 3D and talk about shadow diagrams and solar efficiency and cost and everything like that, it does build trust. And it's the exact same reason why canibuild has grown so fast, because at the start with what we're doing today, it builds trust. You're able to see that parcel, see the setback, see how it looks on that block of land, and the 3D just turns that into a much more intuitive and visual way. So on the chat, there's a link. Click the link, make yourselves known if you're interested in someone reaching out and having a chat. And as I said, if you sort of do that today, we'll love to be able to sort of show our appreciation and discount that heavily for you and sort of go forward with that. So I think I've touched on pretty much all the points I wanted to today. I'm absolutely shocked that I was able to time it to perfection. But basically at this stage, I'd love to open the floor for any questions and anything else I can sort of assist you with while you have me. Or basically even just feedback from what I've shown, both in terms of draw your own lot, merge lot, and the 3D. I'd love positive or negative suggestions or anything that might sort of contribute to us further improving the application, or any questions that you have or getting stuck and not able to do. Well, if there's any questions, I'll stick around for a few moments. But again, please click on the chat, the Zoom chat widget. Click on that link to make yourselves known if you're interested in that 3D, and we'll love to be able to help you on that. Probably the only other thing, and I'll just end with some sugar and spice, and I'll quickly log into the Australian account again. The last thing I'll quickly showcase, and this is something that we've just released, but we haven't released in the sense of marketing or making it fully known. On the top right-hand side, you might see a little analytics usage. If you click on that, you'll soon be able to see analytics information. So all the information on your builds, where you're looking, what sales inquiries, et cetera, that we've got. And then basically you'll be able to pick a time frame and be able to showcase that information. So you've got analytic functions such as what's the most popular council, how many in that council, how many, how's your sales consultants doing, and let's see what Philip's doing. Not much, like always. We've got popular designs, we've got site plans, etc. You're able to get all the information in real time, so you can assist your sales teams straight away. And then basically what you're also able to do is showcase that in quite a few different formats. So you can show it per deal and see how that is. That can feed into marketing decisions, strategic decisions, cost efficiency drives. You're also able to then show that as a heat map. Again, you can imagine from marketing guys, this will be quite helpful. Then you'll be able to click on Chloropleph and see which regions, which areas are hottest and where you're doing most of your activity in, and how that sort of plays into decisions in terms of where to focus your attention on. So again, I'll probably dedicate this to next month's webinar, FAQ hour. But for now, I really hope that everyone enjoyed this session. Again, if you want to speak about 3D or analytics, reach out. You can reach out us on sales@canibuild.com or clicking the link in the chat, and we'll love to speak to you in regards to how we can help you. So really hope you enjoyed the session. Really appreciate everyone's time and effort to join. Keep smiling, keep building, and I'll see you next month at the same time, the first Thursday at 11 o'clock. Love to see you back then. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone. There's some questions. Oh, geez. Thanks, Bree. And what would I do without you? So we've got another quick question from Chris. How do I access 3D options, additional features? Click the link. We'll reach out, Chris, and have a chat about that. We just have to turn it on for you. And under rules, you showed DCP option. How do I get to see this? Currently, I only see CDC exempt. Again, when we reach out, we'll have a chat about that and see in which area you're talking about and what build type. And we'll get that sorted for you straight away as well. So Chris, just expect a call. And got it. Yep, Tanya. I can't find the link. It's in the chat. So there's Q&A and there's chat. So there should be a little chat bubble. If you click on that, it's there. Hopefully that helps. If you can't find it, Tanya will definitely reach out, but there's a link there from Bree in the chat bubble. Zoom, for some reason, separates their Q&A answers with their chat questions. So aside from that, any other final questions? Well, if there's anything else, we're always contactable. Reach out at support@canibuild.com, and I'm famous for my long goodbyes, so I won't drag you on any further. But please, anything, click the link, call us. Okay, we've got another one. Bernadette, hi Tim, can I somehow edit existing designs? Yes, you can. So those are the design option changes. So basically, if I click on a block of land, let's try this random one. And then on the left-hand side, you'll go through your designs. If there's known design options here. So let's just click on this guy, say Orlando. So we've dropped in a floor plan. So setbacks, etc. as per normal. That secondary dash line is the second story. So we've got the design there. On the left-hand side, you can see different facade options. So if you've had those facades, you can choose those, and that'll drive your flyers and pricing. It'll feed into your quote. But if you click on options and click on, say, Grand Al Fresco, it'll modify the floor plan. And then if you've got the guest room or etc., you'll see those modifications. So again, if you there's one of the webinars I dedicated on design options. I think if you look on YouTube, you'll be able to find it, and it goes through that process. But again, if this is of interest, you can sort of reach out and we'll guide you through. So we'll do a one-on-one session and explain how you can do these design options for ground floor and first floor for all your designs, and basically showcase how that looks straight away. And then if you click on quote and look at that, you'll be able to see those design options already feed into the price. So you're always dynamically showing the client what works and what doesn't. Any other last question, team? No? Radio, so I think there's another one. sorry, more for shed structures. Brilliant. So Bernadette, in terms of sheds, what will be, and I'll have to confirm with the dev team, but I think it's literally around the corner. Let me just pick another block. What you'll soon see is your ability to, you'll have this draw function. So here you'll be able to draw a lot. So say, for example, you're doing a shed by 10 by, say, whatever it might be. Let me just put snap on so I can square it up. 10 by 15, whatever might be the scenario. So let's just draw something there. What will happen is you'll soon be able to finalize that design. So say this is the shape of the shed. You can then edit it and sort of expand this out and create that sort of the shape that you want. And then you'll be able to notify canibuild that this is a shed, and it'll extrude, it'll show you in 3D, it'll show the setbacks, it'll treat this as a shed. So we're about to, I'm pretty sure within the next 2 weeks, you'll see that happen. So just reach out to us in 2 weeks' time and we'll be able to showcase how you can sort of design a shed like I've done here and expand that and change it and show the setbacks and show the 3D and everything like that straight away. So right now you can do what I've done here and showcase that, but it's not activating the rules. Soon you'll be able to activate the rules and it'll treat that shape as a shed and then apply all the smarts to it. So hopefully that answered your question. And if not, again, reach out and we'll do a one-on-one. All right, so Bernadette, Chris, thank you for the questions. Everyone else, Grant, thanks for the questions. Mariah, everyone else, Mr. Anonymous, thank you for your questions, and Tanya and everyone else. So look, it's always a pleasure. Love to have you guys on, and really hope to see you next month where we'll talk about probably analytics and the other new features that we released, maybe this shed. So again, thanks everyone, and anyone that's missed it, visit the YouTube channel and the recording will be there. Thanks very much, team. Adios. Bye.